Well, hey there, Facebook. How are you? Good morning. Busy day over there on the Mike Rowe Works Facebook wall. Bit of chatter, touch of controversy. Oh my God. Here, let me show you something. The Donald Trump autographed bathrobe has been available now for less than 24 hours, and it's currently at $10,650. That's $10,650. I don't know if people are bidding on the robe because they love Donald Trump, or they hate him, or they love the MicroWorks Foundation, or maybe they just collect bathrobes. Don't know. Don't care. As I posted yesterday, we are back in what I used to call our chronic and perpetual fundraising mode. The MicroWorks Foundation is about to disgorge over $600,000 for a big pile of work ethic scholarship programs. We do this a couple times a year, and every time it happens, we run out of money. And then I have to go around, turning the screws on big corporations, trying to shake a couple of shekels out of them. But more often than not, going down to my garage and pulling out some dirty piece of my crappy past. That's crap collectibles, rare and precious. We've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars over the year, thanks to people who wildly overbid on the filthy flotsam and jetsam and dreck from my misspent career and filthy past. This doesn't necessarily qualify as one of those things, but when I challenged all the presidential candidates to send me something to aid in this endeavor, I said, Bernie, you want to send me a rumpled sports coat? I'll put it on. You autograph it. We'll raise some money for the foundation. I said, Hillary, you got a tasteful pantsuit you want to send over? I'll take it. I said, Donald, you got a bathrobe over maybe from a Trump Tower? Well, Donald came across. He autographed the thing. You can see the video for yourself. I'm not going to hawk it right now, but I'm freaked out that it's well over $10,000 and optimistic that over the next 9 days or so it will reach astronomical heights. Anyway, apologies in advance. This is the way I heard it. A poor man's telethon at this point. Obviously, this episode is sponsored by MicroWorks. The next few will be, as well as we try and replenish the coffers for our work ethic scholarship program. Having said all that, here's a quick story for you. The way I heard it, by the way, chugging along over there in Podcastville. If you haven't subscribed, well, shame on you. It's blindingly simple to do, and it's just devastating that you haven't. Micro.com/podcast is how you subscribe. And if you're too lazy to do it, you sit here and I read you a story that originally aired a couple of months ago, like this one. 5-minute little mystery. Here it is. Al was not a toy maker by trade. He was just a guy who wanted to fly. Every night, he dreamed of gliding through space, free, unfettered, floating high above the French countryside. Maybe his obsession was the result of a mechanical and curious mind, or maybe it was the result of a degenerative hip that had left him crippled his entire life. Either way, Al spent every moment pondering the mysteries of flight. One day, Al was daydreaming, fiddling with a rubber band, twisting it round and round in his hands as he watched a hawk riding the thermals high above his head. When Al released the rubber band, it unraveled with surprising force, snapping him out of his reverie and prompting a most provocative question. What would happen if a twisted band of rubber was attached to a lightweight propeller and allowed to unwind? Soon, Al's twisted rubber band was spinning a wooden blade that lifted an odd-looking device made of cork and bamboo straight up into the air, where it hovered as if by magic. He called it the ornithopter. Then he introduced the planophore, the world's first model airplane that could fly through the air under its own power. In his quest to fly, Al had created the first torsion motor, and in the process, an accidental category of toys. They certainly caught the eye of the bishop, who came face to face with the ornithopter several years later in a small toy shop somewhere in the middle of America. The bishop was a devout man of the cloth with 5 curious children. Now, on his way back home, the bishop was looking for a few gifts for the kids, but not some frivolous gizmo or pointless trinket. The bishop wanted something that would stimulate the imagination, and the ornithopter seemed like the perfect choice. Well, the bishop was right. His boys loved the toy and played with it round the clock. But back in Paris, Al's obsession had only deepened. He was convinced the same mechanical principles that allowed his 56-ounce model airplane to stay aloft could do the same thing for a much heavier device. Al had already demonstrated these principles to the scientific community and drawn up detailed plans to build a full-sized aircraft. All he needed now were the funds to make it happen. But Al's best efforts fell short. People didn't believe that any device large enough to carry a man could glide through the air, and Al couldn't convince them otherwise. Overwhelmed with despair and frustration, Alphonse Pénal, the brilliant French inventor who yearned to escape the prison of his own body, took his own life when he was just 30 years old. It's a terrible pity when you think about it, because 4,100 miles from Paris, Alphonse's dream was one step closer to becoming a reality. Remember when I told you that the bishop was right? Well, so were his sons. The bishop's boys had disassembled and reassembled Pénal's creation countless times and become obsessed themselves with building their own version. 23 years later, on December 17th, 1903, they finally succeeded. We remember the date because their accomplishment is arguably the greatest scientific breakthrough of the 20th century, an accomplishment made possible by a toy, a very good toy, invented completely by accident and hand-delivered by a man of God at just the right time to just the Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, to be specific. Anyway, that's the way I heard it. You like it? Well, whether you did or whether you didn't, it's over now. I liked it. I found it somewhat apocryphal, if that's the right word. I mean, poor Alphonse, there he is trying to raise money because he's got his eye on a larger prize, a big picture. It was a difficult thing to do. And here I sit, trying to raise some money for some work ethic scholarships. If you got 10, 20 grand burning a hole in your pocket, I'm telling you, I have no idea what this thing is ultimately going to go for. But it is what you call a presidential collectible. Where's his name? It's on here somewhere. It's a big bathrobe, too. I'll check back later in the week and really give you some more specifics on it. But there it is. Whether you love him or whether you hate him. The potential 45th President of the United States of America has signed his bathrobe and sent it to me. How much weirder does the world get? Anyway, I'll see you sometime next week, if not before. In the meantime, oh, yeah, you know what?